And we're live. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Kind Kids Live, where we believe in staying in our lane and sharing our knowledge from our own experiences and starting those thoughtful conversations while keeping kindness as the norm. So I'm that Kimberly, and this is my guest. I will introduce him shortly. He can say hello. We will be talking to Mr. Terry Danner today and throwing some questions his way to get an interesting kind kid conversation going. But before we start that, I want to let everybody know that we are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and you can leave your comments, anything you would like to ask us in the comment section. We'll get to it. If you watch on the replay, make sure that you put where you watched from. Let us know if one of the topics resonated more with you than the other. And I think that's everything. Oh, last but not least, while you're on those channels, hit the subscribe, the follow, so that way you can also know when the next live is occurring, which is we're usually here every Friday, or I am. So with that, I will say thank you to Mr. Terry Danner and let him introduce himself, and we'll jump into our conversation.
Yeah, well, I like to color outside the lines. So do I really have to stay in my own lane? I mean, we'll see how that goes over our conversation. So
as long as you stay kind, which you always do. So.
I hope so. Over the years, hopefully I've learned that. So
yes, absolutely.
For those who don't know me, so most of my career was in property management, property operations, Trammell Crow back in the old days.
Oh,
the
TCR.
old days. Yes, the old TCRS. Which ceased to exist when we broke out and formed Riverstone Residential Group. So ran that with a partner of mine, and then ran that from 2006 through 2014. Sold it to Greystar then, and took took 6 months off. Decided that I couldn't sit on the sidelines, and went back. It took the role as CEO of SitePlan. So trying to bring some technology to the service teams, to the on-site teams, and really close some gaps that I saw in operations. So kind of moved to the tech side, or everyone says I moved to the dark side. I don't know. I think I've moved to the problem-solving side.
Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate you saying that, because that really hurts my heart when I hear people say the dark side. I'm like, what makes us so dark?
I mean, you've been in the industry, right? I mean, everybody in the industry is fantastic. It seems like one big family. I mean, it's a huge family, but It seems small enough. And really suppliers, operators, owners, I mean, they've all actually worked very well together over the years. Yeah. So no dark, no light.
Correct. It is one that I would say it's kind of like golf, right? I don't want to just say a gentleman's game, because there are plenty of women that know how to play golf, but it's very respectful to your competitors. And most of us play well in the sandbox, I'd like to say.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
So, okay, well, the fact that you've agreed and fit me in your schedule, which I truly appreciate.
Oh, come on. We've been wanting to do this for a while. I'm glad we got it together.
I know it's been a while, but hey, I'm appreciative, believe me. So we're going to spin the wheel. I have moved up just a little bit, as long as technology agrees with my spinning of the wheel. We do have the cards, like the good old days. They're right back there. So just in case, I will spin the wheel before. Hello, Laura Lessis. Thank you. So I have to. Let me pull this up. Okay, here we go. So you're not gonna choose that one. We're gonna hit the spinning. Why are you not spinning? Oh, I know why. There we go. So Laura will be able to ask a question if we have sales. Yay! Aha! So my first question to you, as it relates to the sales topic, how have you changed your sales approach, your sales team, in this time of 2020? I don't want to use the C.
Yeah, don't use it. Don't use it. Don't use it. Don't use it.
Yeah.
And realize that with sales, I mean, I've been on the other side, right? So I get asked a lot is kind of, well, can you talk to our sales team now about what it's like to kind of be on the receiving end of all these salespeople who are trying to kind of hit you up for business? And I love talking about that topic as well. But for our team, at SightPlan, it's been interesting. I mentioned that, I moved to this side to really try to, find some tools that close some operational gaps. So, to me, I don't really view it as sales. I view it as kind of, you find the right product, you build a good product, and hopefully it sells itself. Yes, you've got to make the connection. I guess, the only thing that's changed is, it's not face-to-face anymore. We just talked about our industry being kind of personal, and people like to interact. And now we're trying to do all of that, via these Zoom calls, GoToMeetings and whatnot. And it's a little less personal. But I think it's been successful. And I think it's taught us that this is something that we can actually do, as we go forward. We don't have to hop on a plane everywhere we go to have one meeting. And I would say the frustrating thing about that is, you plan a full day, and 2 or 3 people maybe cancel last minute, and you're just running up the expenses. I hope that in the long run, what this actually leads to is lesser expense on the product itself, because you're not having to spend those extra dollars.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but on the sales, it's interesting now during this a P word or whatever we want to call it. It's a little more frustrating. Sales have obviously slowed. I think that's true for everybody, except for the Zooms of the world and whatnot, right?
If you got stock in Zoom or StreamYard, any kind of streaming syndication is just
Netflix.
Oh my gosh, you name it. Yes,
Amazon. 100%. We're all shopping from home. But it's teaching us some new things and new ways that we can use our products and services to adjust, to this environment. And so I think it's leading salespeople to be much more creative in the way they sell and realize that selling really is about pain points. And right now there are a lot of pain points, focusing on those pain points, figuring out, what do people need today? Now, I would say, the one thing that is, and you and I have talked about this in the past, that our industry is so slow. It probably drives me crazy on why people can't be more progressive.
Well,
right now.
Wait. 15 years ago when I met you, and I remember the day
here it comes.
On the golf course, when you just, Riverstone Residential, I believe was the name. And I was selling online streaming video for, websites, and before Google bought YouTube, like I was determined. And I feel that because of products like the iPhone and the Android, I have an Android, I feel because of technology and because the renter has demanded things, it has made our industry, the apartment industry, move up a little bit faster. Maybe not as progressive as others, obviously, but they're a lot more open. I would say 50% more than even when you back in the day, you know what I mean? Like when people complain about it, I'm like, look, I don't want to hear what you got to say. And let me tell you how you can step it up, because I do feel for those, startups or those newbies coming into our market, because there were nice, kind people like you that, looked at me like, sure, maybe, I'm not quite sure I'll meet with you, but we're just led me in the right direction, right? Or gave me even, 15, 20 minutes of their time. So I try to tell that to other salespeople. You need to consider X, Y, and Z. This technology or this time has made our industry not be scared of to get educated on technology, not to be scared to be in front of the camera or to use Zoom or to use StreamYard, because they have to, like you said.
It's certainly, all of that's changed, and hopefully we've learned how to change, and that change is okay. Back in the day, I will admit, you're to a certain degree, you're a victim of circumstance, right? Here we were in the third party world. And even today I hear this a lot, right? We're victims of, our owners want to do this, right? And when you have, people who want to do lots of different things, you just kind of throw your hands up and say, well, I can't get anything done. And you see the progress that the REITs have made over the years, right? Whether it's things like, hey, they don't even take rent in the office anymore, right? Yet most of the industry still does. That's just kind of one example. in hindsight, if I look back on it now, I say, oh, I could have done more. I should have done more, because there are groups out there, even third-party managers that are really pushing initiatives down because they feel they have to, right? The teams are naturally resistant to change, right? Always complaining about, maybe complaining is the wrong word, right? I mean, because it's a tough job. It is a tough job on site to kind of absorb all of this. And I think sometimes people make mistakes in what they're deploying or how they deploy it, right? It's not just always about the product, but a lot of times it's about how well you implement what you're doing and getting feedback along the way and adjusting and whatnot.
Yeah, and prioritizing what makes their jobs easier. I mean, I'm a double agent. That is what Miss Nicole Block, labeled me, because I'm a renter, right? So I know what it feels like to walk into the property and not either one to be able anybody to talk to me, or two, nobody is what would you say, like like it takes forever, right? So that's a little discouraging. And then seeing someone get their head bitten off for something that it wasn't their fault, like I feel for them, right? At the same time, when I go and look for an apartment community, I can't get anybody to call me back. That also is disturbing. So it's like that catch-22, you kind of, but we just have to evolve. We have to juggle and prioritize the technology that's going to make our lives, our work.
Well, a lot of what you're talking about really is complacency to a degree. And, you talk about how things have changed, right? And how sales has changed. Now I think people are being a little more complacent. I mean, so if I had some advice out there, and I see this and I'm still traveling around kind of in this environment. I'm on planes, I'm out seeing people, talking, finding out what's going on in the market.
You're using your mask and you're using your
yes. I social distance, I use the masks and everything. But what I do see a lot of times is people, blaming the environment, right? I mean, oh, well, we can't do that now because it's COVID, or, oh, no, that's not possible because of COVID. And I hope the industry doesn't get, despite the fact that they're learning new technologies and maybe, realizing that we can change, don't get complacent with this environment and start blaming everything on COVID. I mean, listen, you and I have been in this industry a long time. We know circumstances, conditions, they change over the years, right? Recessions come, recessions go. They're all slightly different. React and move on. During all these times, you can't just throw the towel in, right? You adjust and you move on. And a lot of people are learning how to do that. But not everybody.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I remember when we started during when Katrina hit New Orleans, and I could have never planned. And we were in Dallas, Texas, and we had all these influx of renters. So nobody thought they needed advertising at the time. And because that's for the bucket that they put us under, because we didn't know that we were a separate bucket. And now I'm happy to say that there's a line item budget that's for video production, thanks to Capture the Market. However, I'm going to go and say the name. But my point is that you can't prepare for those things. All you can do is pivot, assess it and pivot. Like, that's it,
That's the beauty. And that's the beauty of our industry, right? Every day is different. Every day is a new challenge. And I think that's why a lot of people are attracted. And once you get into this, however you got into it, you tend to stay because every day is different. It's unique. I mean,
you're constantly growing and evolving, for sure. Heather says hello from Philly. Hey, Heather.
Hello, Heather.
Okay, so we're going to get our next topic. Let me spin that wheel. Woo, so much easier with the wheel spinning.
This is hard because we could talk about any of these for the full duration.
Social media. I love to talk with people about social media. So, social media, because social media is constantly evolving. It is so fast-paced that it is, my God. So I'm going to start with the simplest question. When did you get on social media? What was the very first? Well, I'll tell you first that the first time I got on Facebook, the only way I could get people within the industry to friend me on social media, or on Facebook first, because that was one of the first ones, YouTube, and then Facebook, was at a conference, and I had to get permission, like, oh, you like this? Okay, well, if you want this picture, you gotta friend me and then tag yourself.
Right.
Because you know what I mean? That was, so half of my Facebook page are, you know, high school, college friends, family, and the other half are colleagues, friends in the industry and things of that sort. So when did you get on social media and become a believer?
Me, Terry.
Yes.
Well, after recently watching The Social Dilemma, I may decide that I need to get off of social media.
Okay, that I try not to think about that. In The Hack, did you see The Great Hack?
I did not see that, but but some of us were talking about that yesterday, so I do need to watch that as well.
You need to watch it. And if you filled out any of those forms of what kind of princess or what kind of golfer are you, what kind of soccer, we're all going to be, you know, anyway.
Well, it certainly can be addicting, and I think that's part of kind of the evolution of social media for me. So, you know, I don't, staying in my lane, I guess, you know, I'm pretty much Facebook and LinkedIn. You know, and I would say in the early days, I was just Facebook. I wasn't really LinkedIn. I mean, when I was an operator, it was like, geez, that's just one more way that everybody's going to kind of, you know, cannibalize my time, you know, in a busy work day. You know, that's changed a lot over the years. And I think LinkedIn's changed a lot over the years and how people use it and whatnot. You know, it's the way today, it's the way that I keep up on, I see great posts, right? I mean, BH is posting, Pegasus is posting. I mean, you've got a lot of.
It's not about finding a job anymore. It's about networking and education. It is the newest way to promote your business and to find business. Period. End of story. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean,
it's totally different.
Yeah, we talked about, you and I were previously talking about education and how you educate, right? I think this is one way that, you know, kind of, hey, it's not somebody shoving something down to me. You know, I peruse at my leisure. I find the stuff that I want to review, and then I spend some time doing it. But in the early days, so I am not on, I mean, I actually have Instagram accounts, a Twitter account. I don't want to talk about Twitter. I mean, you know, Twitter, I did that many years ago, and I don't do it. I don't do it now. Obviously, we see examples of how that can get people in danger today.
I just watch. I mean, I barely got on Twitter, and because we used to have an account, and somebody else used to manage that account. And so because I realized after 15 years of being the video girl, and still people just call me that, they don't call me by my name. That's why I'm that Kimberly, and just went ahead and opened up all the accounts under my name, because I had to give up all those other accounts, right? So it's definitely something that Twitter was late for me. But I just listen and watch and follow, and might retweet one or two things, you know, here and there. But I'm still learning Twitter, but everything else I have, for sure.
Well, I've tried to moderate now. I mean, you know, in either one, you know, whether it's a social dilemma or over the years, you just realize kind of, hey, I'm spending a lot of time here, you know, and checking screen time and those kind of things I think are important for people today. And I would say in business, I mean, back in the early days with Facebook, you know, I was one of those who was like, no, I mean, I don't want all the properties, you know, using Facebook. I mean, because I felt like it's something, not that it wasn't a useful tool, and not that there weren't ways to find useful ways to use it, but it's easy to get distracted and lost in it. And you wake up an hour later and you find that kind of, oh shoot, an hour went by.
Yeah. But that was also before you could get a degree in social media, which you can. That was before it was like we knew that we were going to have somebody dedicated to social media, a couple of people, you know, for copy, posting, content, you know, like it's separate. I tell people all the time when they, you know, marketing, I'm like, marketing social media is, but they're almost together, because it takes like a whole other band of people to do social or person. You know, if it's not a very big company, you should have a marketing person and a social media person, that they work together. You know, it's a full-time, like it's two people's jobs, right?
Well, we had that, you know, I learned that at Riverstone. I mean, we had a marketing group that, you know, pretty much, you know, maintained the social media status. But now at SightPlan, I mean, and, you know, kind of relating to the previous topic about sales, I mean, it's a lot of the way we sell today. You know, right now, I mean, we spend a lot of time on our SightPlan Facebook page, a lot of time on LinkedIn, you know, in reaching customers today, because we're not out face to face. And you know, I think people have, I think to a certain degree, people have gotten tired of the Zoom calls and go to meetings. I mean, It's almost
hard.
a necessary evil. But, you know, we started this Back to Work series and
Yes.
you know, where we go out and about and we're, you know, we're highlighting team members and cities and roles and how people are adjusting in this pandemic. A lot of it's just recognizing the on-site team members, and all of that is posted on social media, right? It's the way that we kind of keep informing the industry that, hey, the whole industry is moving forward. You know, you just don't hear about it anymore because you're not out and about. So.
Yeah. Or you don't watch the news like me. I keep the news. Well, because my mom has dementia and it confuses her for sure. So I don't want to, and all the back and forth negativity that can, you know, depending on what day of the week it is with news, I don't want to overwhelm her. So I definitely, and then it overwhelms me because she's asking me questions. And so I just get a little bit in the morning, make sure that, you know, nothing's burned down, nobody's dead, you know, all that stuff. And I pick some stuff up from Facebook and Instagram, but it's definitely, I get that part. It's a little bit too much, you know.
Yeah, you're the same as me. I mean, you know, maybe on the training side, I mean, you know, hopefully what we've done with the Back to Work, and you can find it on our Facebook page or on my LinkedIn, and you can see that, you know, these are episodes with, you know, 15 different companies, 15 different roles. We, you know, talk about things like sanitization today, resident service, how those have changed. Peruse them at your leisure.
Yeah. Well, when are you going to start going live with those? Because, you know, live video gets 6 times more reach.
Yeah, well, you know, I've told people as we've been filming this series, I'm thinking the last thing you should think of me as is some type of Hollywood actor, because I'm not that good at it. I'd be the first to admit it. So, you know, this is, you've got me outside my lane at the moment here doing live.
What? I have a really hard time believing that. Really do. It's kind of hard, but okay, I'll let you.
Yeah, let me slide on that one.
Yeah, that one. Okay, so one last question. Well, I will like to say, Heather says from our previous question, she says, accept, adapt, accomplish. We absolutely agree with you, Heather, for sure. Okay, so last one. I realize I have to unhook this thing because technology likes to be funny on me.
Last one. I mean, come on. We got so many more topics to cover.
I know. Oh, wait, I think it did the same with me. I really want to.
The same again. We just want to emphasize sales and social media.
I guess. Not technology, not like, let's see what happens. Marketing. Okay, what I'll start, like, so why did okay, so we're at marketing. What well, is it okay, so campaigns and words, right? You know, that we used to use, you know, like that would be out of context now for the, you know, millennials, the Gen Zs, I believe. I should know what that generation is because my nieces and nephews are. But marketing has changed so much, and I imagine that's probably why you guys started doing what you started doing with the Back to Work series. But what would you say that you don't use, or words or things that you think about not using because they would be out of context, you know, or you would lose that audience? Is there anything?
Well, you know, I guess I'd say nowadays almost anything you say can be taken out of context, right? You know, we see this today. I mean, you know, simple stuff that sounds logical when you say it, you know, somebody's going to twist it and take it the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know, and I hate that, because I think people should be sharing ideas. They should be able to kind of speak freely. You know, in the old days, it was just, we never used the word safe. Right. I mean, it was kind of, you know, nowadays, I think lots of people are using that word. I mean, you know, I don't know if it's cyclical or what, but, you know, you see it. I mean, whether it's in the presidential debates or in society today, I mean, you know, people are saying words, and I'm like, you know, not that you shouldn't say that. I mean, some of them seem okay, and then it's just, but somebody takes it the other way. So I don't know that I have any specific words. You know, I think I've always been careful in what I say, and hopefully I'm not saying anything inappropriate here, because, you know, if you're promoting your company's culture, right, and you've got corporate values, I mean, you know, all you can do is continue to ingrain those in your team members, right?
Yeah.
So that they understand that, hey, as an individual, you can do what you want, think what you want. Hopefully it's all kind. You know, but in business, I mean, a company has to stand for something. And so, you know, I think it's the constant reiteration of what are your corporate values? What is it you believe in? And don't say anything outside those lines.
Yeah. And hopefully the culture is, you know, kind as well. Like Heather just threw up never settle. That was that stuff. We actually got to work with her Acadia Windows on their training videos, a lot of their stuff, and that was their motto. But their corporate culture, you know, was always been that kindness and respect, and they all, you know, in that, and you Riverstone as well, very much. And I know SightPlan, a lot of companies, but I feel like when we talk about things without the context can be twisted, but the more you repeat it to, whether it's your employees or, like, for instance, I have this big word that I can't stand people using in the industry. They call us vendors. And I ask, would you please use the word supplier, right? And a lot of people that are of the old school days, some of them are my age and older, they, you know, some of them in the beginning were, I was like, but we're not, are we machines that just our arms falls down, you know? And you're a partner. Like, people know that they want to do business with people that are partners and that they like, and that they, you know, a vendor reminds me of a vending machine, you know,
right.
Doesn't have a name.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
it's not going to call you back when it's a dire need, right?
Yeah, you have to add that word supplier partner on the end, because you know, people work with companies in different ways.
Yeah.
You know, we see this now, even with all the companies that we work with, you know, they're very different. And to just say I'm a supplier and I have a product and I have a service, you know, I don't uniformly distribute that and sell that and run it the same with every company. They're all different. And so it's, how can I help you with your unique situation? You know, and Heather's right on the never settle. You know, companies need to be progressive, but, you know, and cultures need to change as well. Obviously, we see that today.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be stagnant.
Yeah. I saw Melinda Bates on you know, a little bit of Netflix watching last night with my mom, and David Letterman, she recognized, except for he had this big, have you seen his latest? Okay. So did you see the Melinda Gates one?
I did not see that one.
It was very, you know, and some of the things that she talked about, and he asked her, would you consider yourself a feminist? You know, and my mom's a feminist, you know, because my mom's older than her, but, you know, that was a dirty word, you know, when my mom was growing up. And I was like, but that's what she taught me to be, and I'm not one. What's wrong with you, Mom? You know, but the way she proposed it and discussed it was, wow, you know, very thought-provoking, because, you know, it's changing. If we're not intentional about changing that culture and that mindset within the organizations, within our home. She said starting in the home, which I totally agree with, because that's where I learned how to be kind and respectful. You know, even though my parents weren't kind and respectful to each other because they're divorced, they loved and were kind and respectful and taught us to be kind and respectful to others, right? And so many other things. But it definitely is something that for a whole society to change and evolve, that we, you know, putting it into context and like you show that to others. Like when you were at Riverstone, and even I don't see you as much as you know before, but when I would see you, were always kind, you know, and I met so many, you know, C-level CEOs that would walk through a trade show and see how supplier partners or others would treat the people that were, you know, either, you know, site level, regional level, and wouldn't talk to them if they were disrespectful to those people, because they felt that, well, they can't make any decisions. And so it definitely is thought-provoking, you know, like, it doesn't matter who they are, you know, treat whether they are the housekeeper, they take out the trash, you know, it doesn't matter. Treat them with the respect that they deserve and be kind. You know, it's
well, let me assure you, at least I'm still kind, even in my post Riverstone times. But
you are.
You bring up a great point, right? And we see this in movies about, you know, a housekeeper, groundskeeper, right? I mean, yes, I do, you know, or or a vendor, right? Or that's the way they think of them, as a vendor as opposed to a supplier partner, and people treat them bad. I mean, in property management, if you spent some time with the housekeepers and groundskeepers, their work is extremely difficult. They need to be appreciated for what they do. And, I don't think we give enough to those folks, and their wages aren't as high as, somebody else either. So, try walking in, the walk a while in my shoes, I think is extremely important for anyone in property management to think about what it's really like to be them in their role. It's an appreciation.
Or even anybody else that is, at the grocery, like now, whether it's a cashier, I do love Chick-fil-A because I feel like they're the most cheerful people. Maybe it's just the one down the road from my house in Houston, but it is, their motto about how may I serve you, but them just giving that kindness first, hopefully they're going to get it back. But, the people, when they're not kind to me, now, especially more than ever, I take a step back and think, okay, they're just having a bad day. Maybe it's not about me right now, and I won't get upset, And if maybe I'm having a bad day, I just stay in and don't talk to anybody because I know I might not be able to do that.
But there you go. While we're on marketing and kind of words and whatnot, you say Chick-fil-A and it's different connotations to different people.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, okay, fine. If you don't want to go to Chick-fil-A, don't go to Chick-fil-A. But,
it's a brand.
You turn it into an issue, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, now is that a word we can't really say anymore?
Oh, yeah, that's totally something. That's on a different topic.
Yeah, exactly.
But Heather says we all put our pants on the same way. We all have something to learn from each other. Absolutely. And
that's better said than I ever said it.
Yeah, absolutely. And from the series, why can't I think of him now? I just said David Letterman said that, and from the Moneyball, I don't know why I went from one to the other, but both in the context, David Letterman said, continue to learn no matter what age you are, and in that movie, The Moneyball, that I watched also last night, if you don't evolve, you die, and that comes with your age. If you're not continuing to learn, then you're foolish. You will die earlier than most because your brain needs that it needs that, what's the word? Food, nourishment. They need it. It definitely
it's true. It's true. I think everybody has, they're racing every day to get, I get enough money to retire kind of thing. Well, it isn't about retirement, right? It's about happiness and what makes you happy and longevity. And, I think those individual challenges that people have in their own worlds is really what keeps you young and vibrant.
Yeah. There's somebody that I follow that says making the ROI, making happiness your ROI and figuring out what that is. If it's, if it's happiness, if it's money, whatever it is, but be kind while you do it. And it definitely makes, when you think about it that way, it makes a difference. My mom retired from State Farm and was diagnosed with dementia shortly after, but because her spirit is so, still alive, she applied for Uber 3 months ago. No, not
awesome.
Last year. No, 2 years ago. And she put her caregiver down as a reference because she's bored, right? Like she gets out, she plays tennis, but not right now, but back then. But she's not allowed to drive. And she doesn't like it that I manage her money in a way that she just can't go on a shopping spree whenever she wants, right? Like she basically, we have a budget, mother. You can't do that. So, but it does, but her brain her spirit isn't there with her brain, right? Like some things she does still remember very well because she only has short term, but her spirit and her, her soul tells her she wants to work. She wants to do something. She wants to help. She wants to walk an old lady across the street, help this woman and during COVID to her car. I was like, Mom, don't get so close to her. She might freak her out.
She's feeling young and healthy.
She is, but it's just one of those things that it's not going to be like it was, generations past where you just retire and you don't do anything because we're living longer. We're going to be bored if we do that. I feel, in my opinion.
Well, and we can't live in the past.
Yes.
right? I mean, maybe that's the best way to put it. I mean, along the lines of what Heather was talking about is, progress. In my world today, I mean, listen, I'm aging. I'll admit it. But I don't want to be seen as the old guy in the business, right? And if I don't want to be seen as the old guy in the business, I've got to adapt my ways, and I've got to relate to the young. I've got to understand them. I've got to, relate to them somehow. And so I've got to be willing to say, it's not the old dog, with the old tricks. I want the new tricks.
Yeah.
Teach me. I've got to be open. I mean, so, and a lot of that is on social media. A lot of that is, just hanging around young people, and you've got to be out and about to do that.
And Google, you can learn anything you want on the Googler. Just Google it.
Yeah, there's the book learning, and there's the in-person learning.
Yes,
anyone who follows me on Facebook or whatnot knows that, I'm always out traveling, everywhere I go, trying to see new things. And
absolutely.
I think some things you can only experience by getting out in the world. Don't just stay in front of your computer screen.
Yes, this is true. Absolutely. 100%. But do it safely, of course.
And we've been doing that on our Back to Work series, right? It's masks, it's social distancing. I mean, and it's been great to see.
Tell us, how's it going? How are you doing that? How are you finding people adapt to you when you come out there during COVID? Like, what is that?
Well, I think people are extremely receptive because, they do want to see people, but they want to recognize their team members as well. And they want to explain to, whether it's others in the industry or people in similar roles, kind of what's going on, how are we adapting? Particularly, we did, like sanitization as an example, right? I mean, well, where has there been a sanitization? I mean, there's been a lot of webinars and stuff that have kind of come about, but, do they relate specifically to multifamily? Resident service is constantly changing, right? As we've now gone to everybody's at home, right? So you've got DoorDash and, all of the other services which are delivering like crazy, but yet our leasing offices are closed, trash is overflowing, packages are piling up because people aren't shopping in stores anymore. They're doing everything, delivery. And how are companies handling that? Those are some of the topics that we're exploring and addressing. And, people are stepping up. I mean, they always do in these times.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's good that you're highlighting the people that are on the front line, that are having to go through those things, that are keeping our industry going, that people understand that we are doing our best. It is heartbreaking when you hear about the things that, the news wants to highlight when it comes to multifamily, because, it's not like that. We're a caring industry group. We're a caring group. We know that this is our livelihood, that people, their homes is a very personal place.
And then people go, you get excited about it. And then people, and people lose their jobs, right? Or, they've depleted their savings and, they can't pay rent. And, and managers, are having to have these conversations, and team members are having to have these conversations with residents in these difficult times.
For sure.
That's stressful. I mean, this is emotional stress.
Yes.
At this point.
Yeah. And then they're having to teach their kids in their own homes, right? Like that's a whole other level, a whole other topic that you might I think that's an episode you guys should accomplish. Follow a property manager around that is actually doing both, doing the teaching of their children at the same time. At the property that I lived at, they had parents having kids come over and do little teaching outside, right, in their community.
Right.
That once the kids started having to, just to give them a break for, a couple hours or so the parents could have some sanity. I feel bad for anybody who has a parent or a business during this time. They have to manage other people is just heartbreaking because.
You got to be accepting of kind of little kids running behind somebody, if you're having a Zoom meeting with your coworker.
Oh yeah.
And they've got little kids. I mean, you have to understand that. I mean, that's just their shoes. It's different. I mean, my kids are all college and older, so a little different environment. But I'm good with little kids. I like seeing people's families, right? It brings the personal side into this. We've got one of our customers. She's got 2 little babies, and it's nice to kind of get to see them. I mean, in the way we were working in the old days, you never really get to see anyone's children.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now I'm a fan of them kind of bringing them on and showing them, or their dogs, or you see their backgrounds. Right now, I'm just sitting on a couch here with a wall behind me, but you see people wearing wearing certain things. I mean, my hat, I got my Walker Dunlop hat because the Willie Walker series has been great for keeping up on what's going on in the industry as well. That's just another way people can stay in tune with stuff. But to see. Yesterday I was on a Zoom call and people had a lot of historical photos in the background and everything, and you learned a little bit more about individuals.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would normally have a lot more going on, but since it's very limited because I've repainted my mom's house on the inside, or not me, but a friend of mine helped me, and because we're putting it up on the market. So otherwise it'd be bare because you can't have anything, right?
Well, I'm trying to sit here and read if those are Post-it notes. What's on your Post-it notes? What is Kimberly focused on?
My old cards, just in case, like in case my little spin wheel goes left on me, right? So not too much, but
you can't use left and right. You just did that in there. You can't do that.
Well, tell folks how they can connect with you. If they want to hear more about, SightPlan, and obviously, where I know they can see the back to work.
Yes, you can see the Back to Work series. So, SightPlan is SIGHTPLAN, right? Sight as in, I can see. Sightplan.com, on our website, we, our Facebook page, it's SightPlan, and then we're on LinkedIn as well. And all of our Back to Work episodes and a lot of the other things that we're producing. I mean, you taught me to do more video, right? So we've now kind of, I've got it. I learned. And so we're doing more video.
I just bugged you a lot about why weren't you doing it?
Yeah, well, I've learned, but now I can't help you from a monetary perspective.
That's okay.
So we're so we post that there. I mean, and Terry.Danner@sightplan.com. You can reach me. Happy for anyone in the industry if you want to, if you have any questions or want to pick my brain about things that have happened in the past. I'm available. I mean, I love to talk to folks about this industry. It's been great to me. I've worked with great people over the years. You being one of them. Whether it's on the supplier side, supplier partner side, or whether it's been on my, own team members side, or whether it's been competitors. I mean, there are a lot of competitors today that I'm friends with. We talk, regularly. I think we're all at the end of the day about serving the industry and trying to make it better. What we need is receptivity, really, from the team members to want to change and to want to grow, and as Heather said, to want to progress.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can say that I have learned just as much from you. I have, there was a time when, I don't know if you remember this, but we went to dinner with you, me and Janet, and at the big corporate towers, and her and I, neither one of us had cash for our valet, and you insisted on paying for it. And we're like, I don't want to take his money. I don't want to take his, what do you mean? Where's that? Like, and it was just, and you're like, don't worry about it. Just take it, girls. Cause it was like 10 o'clock at night, and the restaurant was closing, and we're like, how do we pay for our parking or whatever?
Well, you got to take care of the valet. I mean, it goes to the being kind thing.
But exactly. But we were so weirded out that, this president CEO of a company is willing to give us some money. And Janet's like, I'll mail it to him back in the morning. I was like, okay.
I would not have accepted it.
I know, but and even in those experiences, like when you're not around, the things that people say about you is totally true. So I'm just throwing that, for him saying that, Terry is not fooling around. He says he loves to talk and teach people and educate, and giving you your time. So it's definitely one of those, he's not just blowing smoke, kids.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
So, well, I appreciate you so much, for joining us. And anyone that comments coming up later, please leave them again on the replay. Let us know where you're watching. Heather and Laura, I'm still trying to get people that are on the supplier side to come on. Please join us on Kind Kids if you want to be a guest. Terry, if you know somebody that maybe you can get Kendall on. I know I asked Kendall. Shout out to Kendall Fritzer.
I love Kendall. So they've been, both Grace Hill and HD Supply have been partnering with us on this program, and we We did a couple episodes.
I saw
we
one
did
of
one
them.
with Kendall and one with Drew, and they're just a lot of fun. That is a great duo right there.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you again, Terry, so much. And we will see everyone next. Well, nope, not next. Well, I might come on with someone in person next week because I'll be in Dallas. So stay tuned next Friday for Kind Kids. Thank you all. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate
thanks, Kimberly.
you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.